Alrighty, so I saw the directorial debut of Zoe Kravitz, Blink Twice, in theaters, so it's time to talk about it. So let's just get right into it. The story is pretty simple. It follows this woman who works as, I think, a waitress at this fancy ass place to host events. She gets an opportunity to walk the floor of the event. She takes her best friend, meets Channing Tatum, who is super rich guy who clearly doesn't do any shady stuff on the side because that'd be too obvious. But then he takes them to a private island and mystery, suspense, thriller happens, which I could talk into more detail about what happens, but that'd be spoiler talk, and I don't like talking spoilers at the beginning of the video. But yeah, it's a really interesting and well-crafted narrative, surprisingly enough. I thought it was really well told and executed, which like I said, most of the time with these movies, they hook you, but then they have no means to pay it off. And I actually think that this was paid off really well, which, unlike Longlegs from this year, is a nice breath of fresh air. I was so disappointed by Longlegs, but this one was solid. And I liked it the whole way through narratively. But it's not a story that you can just keep rewatching due to the uncomfortable nature of it all. There were trigger warnings before the screening. So, yeah. I'll give it a Hot Pocket score because it is worth a watch. But, let's be honest, you're going to get uncomfortable after too many rewatches of that. Cinematics-wise, the sound design was superb. Although at some points the movie was too quiet and it was raining really, really, really loudly when I was watching this movie. So I'm like, man, the sound design on this rain is so good. And then I look and I'm like, oh, it's sunny. The rain is real life. But it built a lot of suspense, and somehow the rainy nature of me watching the movie made the sunny atmosphere of the actual setting even better. It's almost as good as when I watched Barbarian all those years ago. I went when it was pouring rain, and then the movie starts in pouring rain, and I'm like, oh, hell nah. Sorry for the sidetrack, but just to get the point across, the atmosphere of which you watch the movie does enhance the atmosphere of the actual film. So I'll give it a hand grenade, especially with that amazing soundtrack choice. Just solid soundtrack. Just sound in general, really good. Now, directing. It is the best part of the movie. I think that the directing of Zoe Kravitz's directing was superb and a highlight of the film. I thought a lot of the shots were super well composed and brought the suspense. Really interesting. I really like how it was shot and edited, by the way. But yeah, directing, solid hand grenade. Solid hand grenade. Now, my main issue. The acting. The main issue with the acting, I feel like, is that the movie starts off very suspenseful and mysterious, and it keeps a good consistent tone, unlike Longlegs, which is the most comparative movie I can think of that also came out this year, so it's easy comparisons between the two because they both are super suspenseful thrillers. That the third act just kind of loses me a bit because it gets just a little too wacky, but in different ways. While the premise of Longlegs gets wacky and the performances don't match the premise and the performances are still a little bit too serious, this one, the premise is super serious, but the performances get a little wacky, most specifically Channing Tatum. He was good for a majority of the movie, and then I just didn't like it as much at the end, but I think it's to show hubris. You'll understand if you see it, which is all I'm gonna say. But acting, I don't know, I just was never really sold on the acting, but the material, I saw everything, I enjoyed it for what it was, but yeah, everything was solid. I just think that the acting could have stayed in tone a little bit better. But I don't know. It's a weird thing to describe when I don't have exact feelings on it. But I'll give it a Hot Pocket score there. in conclusion, my expectations and experience, this was not what I was expecting, but it was good. I still enjoyed it. It was a solid feature. I do think everyone should check it out at least once, but like it's not a rewatch movie. I was heavily thinking that the whole time. I'm like, yeah, I like it, but I'm not really gonna seek out to rewatch this. It was worth one watch. So yeah, in conclusion, this is a certified Hot Pocket movie, and that is all I really have to say. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll leave you guys to it.